Hey there! Ever wanted to make your own video game music? Today we're breaking down how to write a track for a flying type Pokemon, inspired by the Pokemon Conquest piece, Flying Battle. So get comfortable, relax, drop me a like as it really helps support the channel, and let's get into it. Okay, so we're starting with a 4 to the floor kick drum pattern. As you can hear on top of that, I've just added some hi-hats, both closed and open, doing this pattern. And I've put a bass line just so I can get what chords I'm going to be using for this piece. So just A, C, D, and they're just passing notes there. So A, C and D. Let's put something on top of that. So first I found these timpanis, which is just this sound. Yep, that's good. And now we need the actual music on top of it. Yeah, so I think for flying stuff, some form of flute works very well. In fact, let's rename this to a flute here. And that altogether sounds like this. Now, for the next part, I've just added this in. Simple strings. Together. And that harmonizes with the brass part, which is going to act as the lead here. It sounds like this. So a melody there, which is on this Brass of Power patch in the Korg M1 synth. Let's lead that into a bigger second half, which has the flute brought back in. And this sweep. And if you've been watching my tutorials, you'll see that often what I do is the first 3 bars are basically the same of the melody, but the last bar is the one I change to lead into a new section. So here on this brass patch, we have got a rising pattern just at the end. Whereas the first time, just so you can see the notes, you can see I was descending to make it easier to loop back to the first note of that phrase. Right then, let's lead that into a new section, which sounds like this. As you can hear, for the flying part, I've got this, which is just an arpeggiator. Just quickly, if you could tap the thumbs up button, it would really help me out. If you have any questions or suggestions for future tracks you'd like me to make, pop them down below. And just so you know, there are already dozens of other tutorials on this channel to help you become a video game composer, with many more coming each week. So feel free to get subscribed. Right, back to it. So we've got, for the chords, E minor, then we've got D major, G major, and A minor. And then similar on the way back down, but we have got this sus chord here. It's going to be A sus4 to A major. Okay, they are the basic chords, which I've doubled up with the strings. And the bass line is going to be following this here, which is just this. So a syncopated pattern. You can see more clearly here. The first 2 chords are the same, but it's just A at the end. So that's that A sus4 to A major. And the brass line is the melody. So that goes like this. And all together one last time. And the timpanis are following the bass line. Just gives it a bit more welly. Good. Let's see what we do the second time. It's basically a copy and paste, but we've got this playing the melody on top of the brass, which is now, I've transposed it up 12, so that's an octave, so that's higher. Just to fill out the sound, but the rest of it is the same. So as we and you can hear, like what I said before, the first 3 bars are basically the same, but this last one is just raising the notes up at the end there, which gives it more of a dramatic feel before we lead on to a variation. So instead of keeping that brass sound, which is starting to get annoying by this point, I've now gone for this flute sound as the lead, which goes like this. So just rising and rising essentially. Pretty much everything else is going to be the same. And the only thing to note there is I brought in a note before the whole passage started, which was on this B before we go up to the E, if I'm on the right patch. So we're going from the B, E, right at the beginning. And that just smooths over transitions, so I recommend doing that. And then the last time round, we have got this melody, but played on different pads. And again, at the end, I'm raising that last bar's few notes. So let's have a listen. So the same. Good. That is all the changes we have made there. So let's just make sure it loops back around now. Yeah, what I could do there is just add a sweep or something at the beginning, because we've got this sweep I've added. Let's just solo it so you can hear it going up. So it'd be quite good if then we have another sweep at the beginning, just to glue the whole piece together. So that should sound like this. So yeah, that just glues the whole piece. Let's have a listen from the top. Good. Not too bad there. So we've got one section there, and well, basically an A section and then a B section. And you can hear what I've done is just put lots of variations to keep that going so the listener doesn't get bored. But it's not so varied that it's going to be off-putting if it was in a game. Right, any questions, pop them down below. If you could give us a like, that would really help out. And I've got loads more tutorials like this now, so hit subscribe as even more will be coming. But check the playlist out and learn to make video game music. Right, I will see you in the next one.